I think that two things. I think DC is a test for use for other places, and I also think that in the future there's going to be something where he's going to want something done by the Congress, and they're going to not want to do it, even the Republicans, and he's going to use the military to coerce them.
What do you think California was?
Yep.
Exactly, and it's like
this is a test. This is only a test of your emergency military broadcast system. Oh. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean DC, he's got jurisdiction there, but yeah, Michael, to your point, it's like they're going to be governors like DeSantis, most Republican governors would be like, come on in, right?
But I don't know. Power.
It's like he's out of his jurisdiction with every other state as. I mean, he was borderline humiliated by Newsom when Newsom pushed back for the ICE riots.
GA got a flight taken off. Any kind of slight on his ego is going to be met with unmitigated tantrum. I mean, force.
Pokemon, I'm so glad you came up and that you chatted in the chat. We always welcome sensible people to the stage. We have some. I know you're in the room. You know, the club, the house, whatever they call it on here anymore. But I'm glad to see and hear a new voice on stage. So thank you.
Wait, who's Pokemon?
That's the lady who's been speaking about her daughter, what she saw in DC and getting.
Oh, hey, I'm Ramona. I'm sorry, I'm blind. I wasn't well when I'm looking.
She literally is blind. She's not just saying.
I really am blind.
No, but Ramona still has better eyesight than Trump.
The fuck?
So the fact that
he's
targeting blue states, when is this going to be acknowledged as political attacks and a political occupation?
That's what I was saying earlier. Congressional war.
It should be a hate crime.
Queen, it's not going to happen until he's out of office. You know that. You and I both know that.
But I'm saying, like, we have a media, we have people whose job it is to provide commentary on these things that are supposed to, like, clarify the situation in everyday language for people who are not as astute, maybe not as literate as it relates to the Bill of Rights and Constitution. People who may not have the words to describe, like they know that something's wrong, but they don't know, quite how to describe it because the war and civil war and declaration of war haven't been explicitly said out loud.
But Queen,
I mean, the actions are speaking that loud and clear.
But Queen, they started this journey in 2014. Remember, they started making the media the enemy of the state and the demons. So what they did was, before they got here, they actually made the media in society untrustworthy. So guess what? Now, anybody who told the truth, they got fired. Y'all don't see the long line of people that got fired. Rachel Maddow almost got fired. You got Lester Holt got fired. I mean, a long line of people got fired. They started Don Lemon. All of these people got fired. So at this point, now newscasters like, can't say too much, because if we say too much, then we're going to get fired, and we're going to get pressured, because we know that we're going to get pressured and we can't say too much in asking him directly, because we'll get kicked out of the press room. Remember, in December 2024, for the first time in U.S. history, now the actual White House determines who's going to be in a press briefing room, because that was always left up to the press corps to determine. They took that from them so they could kick out whoever they want to, whoever asked questions they didn't like, just like the black lady, I remember that stood up. April or something was her name, and he kicked her out, and she hasn't been seen in any place on TV since then. This is what they started in 2014. So, Queen, now
I'm sorry.
If they think
April Ryan is still around, and she
April
is
Ryan
on
is still-
television. Yes,
Okay,
she is.
okay, my bad. I hadn't seen her, so I retract that statement. But my point is this. They started this so they could do this, so the press would be afraid of actually calling it for what it is. That was the whole plan the whole time. So we can no longer depend on the press to actually call it for what it is. Now we've got to go to podcasts. Now we got to go to Joy Reid's podcast, and I'm just naming people. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with him. I'm just saying we've got to go to alternate media because that was the plan the whole time. All of
Well,
that.
it seems really weird because you guys, I don't know how old everybody is in here, but there was a point in time when media, when journalists, it was immutable, their protection, their freedom, their ability to report the news, the good, bad, and the ugly, without the only kind of ramifications they could have is if they lied. That's it. But it was always about the facts. I mean, people make fun of it, but it's just facts, ma'am. It really used to just be like that. Now it's not. They have no rights. They have no protections. They can't protect their informants. They can't, nothing. And if there's something they say, like you said, if they say something, they're gone. You know, they may not be gone, but they're not standing up front asking questions anymore.
Ramona, I miss Walter Cronkite. My God.
Yeah. Dan Rather, Connie Chung, Brian Humble, you know, I mean, even the 60 Minutes fellas, you know, it was great to have good
Rosalind, I see that you wanted to speak. I just wanted to throw in really quickly that if you really want to get a good look at what's going on right now, watch the movie that was made with George Clooney a number of years ago called Good Night, Good Luck, which is the story of Ed Moore taking on McCarthyism on the news. PBS many years ago. It's a true story. It was recently made into a Broadway play as well that stars George Clooney as Ed Moore. And it's just like watching what's going on here. I mean, it's just, he really took a huge risk to do it on the evening news, and he completely revealed everything that McCarthy was doing in the Senate, and it was a game changer. But the one thing I would say is, you know, we all know that freedom of the press is one of the first signs of a dictatorship, is that when that goes, we're really in trouble. But what has sprung up through Instagram, through Substack, through other independent journalists using other platforms is starting to fill in the gap. So every day I don't get my news from traditional media. I don't have cable TV. I don't watch CNN or MSNBC. But I do watch Rachel doing her own posts on Substack or on IG. I mean, you can go to any of your leaders and you can start posting in real time what they're seeing in their states, what they're seeing on the ground, what they're seeing happen in the White House. So it's not a solution, but they're coming up with a wage, and this is all reader sponsored. None of this is corporate sponsored. It's not sponsored by ads. It's sponsored by Americans and people from all over the world who are paying to be able to have access to the programming and to get a look into what's actually happening. Go ahead, Rob.
What I wanted to say is that one of the problems is that Trump is deciding what is truth. And then he's prosecuting and punishing people for what he says is not the truth. That's why all these people from the FBI who worked on January 6th are being fired. All the prosecutors who worked on January 6th are being fired because he has decided that that's not true. And he's doing that with other things as well. This is way worse than we are even recognizing. This is a catastrophe. This is the end. Because there's no resistance. Why haven't we had a march? Because we're afraid. People are afraid to get into the streets. And that changes everything. Because there's no resistance, there's no organization, and we're afraid to do it. because now they're carrying guns. And because a little bit that they did in LA, look at the response. So now Americans are afraid of the government en masse. Where's the big march? Where's the pussy march? Where's the march, No Kings march? Why haven't we reacted? Because he's winning, because we're afraid. Because things like attacking John Bolton, who was on his side, he uses the military against and the law against anybody. Look what's happening to Trish James. There are other people too who they're saying, oh, you have mortgage fraud. That's an easy one they can do. You guys, I don't know.
Oh, you're absolutely right. But I mean, just think about what happened back at the BLM riots when Trump said they should be using live rounds. You don't think he's going to be authorizing live rounds here? That's why people are scared. They don't have the right to protest. They don't have a right to use their voice without risking death. That's not what our Constitution is supposed to be about. That's not what our country's supposed to be based on. So fuck yeah, they're scared. We're scared. I'd be out there right now too if I could see where bullets were coming from. But, you know, you're right.
MAGA and the Republicans have sold out everything. And every time we get a Republican in here, we have to try to hold them accountable. Because I don't know, maybe they'll see. But eventually it's going to start to them. I mean, like, what are the sides of the Civil War? What are the two sides? It's the government against the people.
No, I believe that, Rosalind. I believe that we're getting very close to civil war. And I don't think it's hyperbole, actually.
I don't know that it's going to be like MAGAs against the world, though. I think it's going to be even more insidious than that. Because if it were just MAGAs against the world, would that be fucked? There would be no war.
No, it's martial law that's it. It's martial law that's the issue to me.
Yeah, it's going to be the people against actual government and authority figures. I don't think it's going to be civilians on civilians. Not like that.
We're not done. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Rosalind. Like it is, there is fear out there. But like as Emperor and Queen put in the chat, people are marching. There are protests. They're not being all covered. I didn't realize the extent of No Kings. They're saying that was a record 5 million in numbers. 5 million across the country. Like that's people are, you know. I'm trying to look at the protest half full, not half empty.
We definitely need another No Kings. I mean, because he's escalated since we did the first No Kings.
Well, this is the thing that I'm worried about more than anything. Is one, what I'm looking at is by 2027. It's going to get to a point where we're going to have a Tiananmen Square incident. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. There's going to be a kid standing in front of a tank. That is going to happen. This country will not slow down the direction that it's going into until we have a tank run over a citizen. It's going to take a Tiananmen Square incident for finally. Okay, that's enough. Finally, that's it's gonna take that. It's gonna take that because here's the issue, Rosalind. We can have No Kings every single weekend. It's still going to be those damn liberals. Those damn liberals. They just want tampons and bathrooms. It's going to be that argument until a tank runs over a citizen. And at that point, then it can be Okay, they liberals, but they're Americans. That's it. That's going to be it. It's not going to change until then. It's really not.
I think it's going to be before 2027. It'll probably be this year.
Well, the problem with going out on the streets is that you don't want to play right into his hand because you're being baited and there are you go to the street and we all, I mean, if masses flooded the street, well, then they're going to activate with their guns.
Right,
And now
but
he played right into what he's trying to, at least he wants us violent.
right, but I mean, you don't have to be violent. The purpose for a demonstration like that is to demonstrate to him and the officers or the enforcers that there are more of us than there are of them. And that, you know, whether it's from young to old, regardless of race or whatever, that like we're standing together for a common cause. And they'll see it, whether or not the media covers it or not. They will see it. Those people that have to look at us, the citizens, they will see it, that they're outnumbered. And, you know, if they want to jump bad on their own citizens, then, you know, hey, then we know that we've crossed at some point, you know, at some point, if people are really serious and we understand fascism and living under dictatorship, and we've learned the lessons from the past of what that means, then we understand that, you know, this comes with some risks. It's like Obama said, you know, it was easy to talk about justice movements before because 9 times out of 10, you could do these things and maybe you'll get arrested. But the stakes are a little bit higher. But there is a lot more at stake, right? And so we have to just be